My G,
My man, how far now?
it's going good. I can't
What's going
complain.
on? What's going on?
Chill, chill, chill. You know what? This is one of those weeks we usually pray for, right? When we're
You
actually
know?
coming in from the weekend with a victory, preparing, for Champions League football,
Yeah.
how we used to be back in the day until we got frozen out of it for a while, but now we are back.
We're back. We're back from our hiatus.
Yes. How does it feel to be back? Champions League second
Nah,
year again.
it feels like this is where we should be, coming up from how we've been playing for the past, 2 to 3 years. It feels like like when Arsenal made it into the Champions League last season, it wasn't even news anymore. There was no time that it became news that they said that, oh, Arsenal has mathematically, qualified for
Qualified.
for top four. It's not that news anymore. So I feel like it's a testament to how far we've come as a team, and now it feels like this is where we should be. So
And it's quite unfortunate to see how some fans actually don't take this into consideration when, trusting Arteta and the process. Because just a couple of years back, when we make top four, like when we
mhm.
get into the fourth position on the
we
last day
ce-
of the season,
we
we celebrate
celebrate
it.
it. Yeah,
Boys bring out champagne, and we're happy
yeah,
about making
yeah,
it to Champions League at least. But now we are coming into a new season with the resentment that we are not going to be second this time around. We have to be first or a trophy. That's to tell us that altogether our standard
yeah.
has come up higher.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
it's one thing I
We
look at and say, you know what, Arteta is doing a great job for a young manager of his caliber. Come on, he's doing great.
yeah,
But one of the strange factors that I observed as well is the fact that today, like we're recording, is on a Wednesday. Tomorrow is a Thursday. We are basically going to be playing Thursday night football.
yeah.
But
Absolutely, and I guess it's part of this new Champions League format
six
that
model, yeah.
that adds like basically two additional games into the whole fixture that people have been complaining about. Players and managers have been complaining about that the numbers of games that these players are playing are becoming
Mm.
out of hand. But I guess is where we are now. I guess the banter of Thursday night football, Wednesday night football wouldn't stick anymore because everybody is playing every time. So, but
Yeah,
that's where
but
we
but
find
but
ourselves.
holding on to that point of everybody's playing every time now, what do you think
Hmm.
will be the major disservice in terms of fatigue that this new system has actually brought to teams? For instance, Arsenal now,
Hmm.
I believe you are bothered as much as I am bothered about the fact that
Of course,
we don't have the squad depth to go through another league again,
of course.
considering how much of a priority it is to be
Yeah.
in this league. Do you think it's going to be more of a disservice to us than a service in terms of how it's structured for the 36
I
games now?
I guess anyhow you want to look at it, I guess it will still boil down to the fact that players are overplayed. Whatever our fear is, players feel like their minutes are not being managed properly. So is it that one or two things? If we cannot see fixtures list, like go back to how it is, reduce games, blah blah blah. Because I know that we are never going to have an issue of reduced games because again, this is all about money. So the more
Mm.
games, the more games, the more money UEFA is going to get, the more TV rights and stuff like that. So we already know that there's never going to be a reduction of fixtures. But
Yeah,
what it can result into now is like teams will start asking for bigger squads. You know,
yeah.
it's not going to just be about, oh, UEFA allowing five substitutes now or an extra substitute if you enter extra time. You
Mm.
need a more robust squad to go through all these games to be able to perform at the top
Top level.
level in all fixtures. Talking about the Premier League or talking about like your domestic league, because it's not only the English teams now that are suffering from this. Your domestic league, your domestic cups, then the European Cups, then the Club World Cup if you qualify. All these type of things. Then you're not even talking about the national commitments into their national teams again. So it's just it's going to open up another line of conversation. Just like what Rodri said, that if it's not managed enough, like a player strike is not too far, to see now. So I guess we just going to.
Rodri should shut up his mouth. That one, he knows how to comment nonsense. He always has one yeah opinion. Sorry to say, if Rodri ever gets to hear this at some point, but Rodri, please keep quiet. Let pundits do their job. You just play
maybe
your football. You're getting so much money for what you're doing. You should be grateful.
maybe he's getting scared that his run of unbeaten games, that Rodri has not lost a game in how many months now. Maybe it's coming to an end, but obviously, I mean, banter aside, we need to be. Even if you look at Bukayo Saka, for example, the
Yeah,
minutes that this guy is going to play this year, coming
it's
up from
crazy.
what he played last year, it's going to be crazy. Yes,
And
these are the things.
talking about Bukayo Saka, we're even looking at the injury updates. The injury updates we have from the club now is that he's actually back in training. I
Yeah,
saw
yeah,
him in
yeah,
training.
yeah, yeah,
He's on the flight. He has landed. They're on
yeah.
full ground now to go for the game.
There was even
Um,
something. There was even something Arteta said. Arteta said he
yeah.
was able to in the press conference. He said he was able to complete most of the training sessions.
Hmm.
So it's even possible that my guy is not fully fit. But
I don't think he is. But looking at I don't want to start projecting into further games that we have
hmm
no business in right now. The next
hmm
game we have in front of us is
hmm
the Atalanta game,
hmm
and looking at the best squad to actually get us a win is what we are going to be deliberating about now in the next few minutes. I'm of the opinion that Bukayo Saka doesn't have to start. He's going to be fielded at some point, but he really doesn't have to start. If you're opposed to this, you can say also in the comments as well. But honestly speaking, I think now the dilemma a lot of managers have to deal with is squad management. And in squad management, you also look at your star player management. Bukayo Saka is a star player, no doubt. And we have a long season ahead of us. I feel in a game like this, we need to be able to utilize other players. We have some depth on the right flank now with Sterling, right?
hmm
And he can actually come into this game. So if Saka is going to be started, please, he should not play more than 70 minutes
hmm
because we are looking at the weekend coming up again with a
hmm
big game.
yeah.
So that's part of the squad management conversations that we are having and people are thinking about. But looking at the major point of concern in the whole team, which is the midfield, what can we do about that? All we can do is assume Arteta to do the best, which we know
Yeah,
he can.
yeah,
But from the look of things here, we look light. We still look light, even with
yeah.
Declan back.
Of course, we do, we
Yeah.
do.
So what will be your own formation for the midfield? We know defense. We'll go back to defense, but let's go to the main point of concern, which is the midfield.
I'll play Pate, Dex, and Trossard again in the midfield.
Oh, I thought
Yes.
you would give a big shout to Kai to come into the midfield.
No. So my Pate, Declan Rice, Kai midfield is
Mm-hmm.
my selection for City.
Okay.
But
Physicality, I get that.
yeah, but for Atalanta, I guess we can go with, not because I'm downplaying Atalanta, because forget, they're like they're a good team. They are
And
well coached.
press.
They are
Yeah,
well
press
coached.
is crazy too. Yeah.
They press man to man from the beginning of the game to the end. They are well coached. So, but I would play a Pate, Declan, and Trossard midfield to start. Now, depending on
Okay.
how the game evolves, I totally trust Arteta to find the best balance. But that's what I would set up, because I also don't believe in resting players. But this is September. I feel like we should play our best players now,
Yeah.
the best available players now, right?
Yeah,
So, but I agree
that's
with you. But I agree with you, like,
mm,
Saka doesn't need to play 90 minutes. If all things being equal, if we have a good result, if we're already winning the game, going to the second half, he doesn't need to play more than 10 minutes of the second half. And he comes up and things like that, and we can keep him fresh against City. But starting up, I'll go my best available 11.
okay. That's quite interesting because I'm of a little bit of a contrary opinion on that note, given the fact that you can call Trossard's legs into question and
Mm.
physicality into question. I would rather save him to come in as an impact player, which I've seen him deliver on again and again and again.
So what
What
midfield would
what
you set up?
So the midfield I would actually set up with is Partey, Declan, and Kai.
Okay.
Right. Now, Kai, because I put into consideration the fact that Jesus is back, he has had some game time. No need to, keep him on the bench to start with. I believe he should start up top. With the performances he has had in the Champions League, that is his playground. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to mess with that. Martinelli, he does a job in terms of his activity, in terms
Work
of his
rate.
press as well.
Yeah.
So let's leave him there. It's just that Sterling part I'm looking at that, you know what? I will be fine with Saka starting, but
Mm-hmm.
Sterling coming on for him at some point. But you see
Mm-hmm.
that midfield, I think we would get more out of Kai's flair and creativity as well in a Champions League game because a Champions League game, even though we know that Atalanta has the press and all, but there is something about the experience you have on the field that Partey and Kai can actually bring to bear. So that's that. But in terms of defense, we are still stocked up in defense. No worries because Calafiori is back. The Italian sweet boy is back. And
The part-time footballer, full-time model.
yeah, you saw that their fashion walk today
Bro,
that Declan
can I
Declan
say,
looked out of
can I
order.
say, no, you know what they find come London. Now London Fashion Week.
With
Eh.
that his hair flicking tips.
Eh.
Yeah, boy. They should go and look for a wife for him and marry him off quickly. No, we don't entertain any
Ah.
responsibility at the house now, please. So, would you start a Calafury in this game, or you still stick with Jurien Timber?
I don't need to start Calafiori. I think
Okay.
I'll start with the defense that ended, that downed, Spurs. So I'll start with it. But just like what I was thinking of, for Saka, right?
Yeah.
The reason why I was even suggesting the midfield of Declan, Partey, and Trossard was because I feel like we can start with that, then give rest. If Kai starts up front, we can bring him into the midfield at some point. You know how we rotate Kai midfield, Trossard left wing, you
Mm-hmm.
sub left wing, and you keep Martinelli fresh. Then maybe like 10 minutes later, you remove Kai in the midfield or Kai up front. You bring Jesus. So the reason why I'm just setting up that way is because I feel like it offers us more rotation later on in the game in terms of looking ahead of for City. So that's what I'll do in the defense as well.
Yeah.
Start Timber, then maybe if the game develops well, if we don't need high risk, we can take Timber off to keep him fresh for City,
For City.
then bring Calafiori early in the game. So that's how.
Well, you know, I think whatever we go with, we have players on ground, except for that midfield position in
Yeah.
terms of creativity that we feel can do the job. What we're just going to be looking out for in this coming game is how Arteta will manage his players in terms of their minutes, because we have like crazy games in short succession. Now, that's one of the disadvantages I'm seeing from this system is that we are playing on Thursday and we're going to be playing on Sunday.
On Sunday.
It's still going to tell on the players in the
Of
long run.
course, of
But
course.
this also gives maybe the consideration for probably a larger window in January or something different in terms of international breaks. Because bro, those international breaks, they are not helping us.
Come on,
I don't think
it's
coaches are,
for
are
it's for Arteta to start saying all this type of Arteta that Sakai is not feeling well. He has a knock. Declan has a knock because we can't risk any of Saka, Declan
no.
anymore. Imagine having Odegaard out, then Declan is out, or Saka is out.
That's that
That's
was
it.
it was a crazy feat. Oh, you know, a lot of people will not talk about it because it's Arsenal. They would rather give us the hate than the accolade. Now,
Yeah, they love to
normal
hate
thing.
us. Yeah, yeah, of course.
Because honestly speaking, if what happened to us happened to Liverpool or a Man City, trust me, that would be a good enough excuse for them to draw or lose that game. We won the game, and nobody's talking about the fact that Arteta actually played with a very fickle midfield and still got a result away from home. So
Maybe
let's not.
uncles in the midfield.
And and he said something in the interview that Odegaard is a very key personality in the squad, not just even as the captain, but the identity of style that
Yep.
we have
Yep.
is
It
very
starts from
intertwined
him.
with.
Yeah.
Yes, very intertwined with who Odegaard is. And that brings me to the point where I'm going to reflect on something that happened just about 20 years ago when a great midfielder like Vieira was injured and a young boy in the person of Fabregas had to step up to make his first appearance in the Premier League game. Do you think Ethan Nwaneri should be given a chance to make his Champions League debut?
Yes, he should. And even when I'm talking about like setting up a Trossard in the midfield, right, is
Yeah.
because um I might say yes, he deserves to be given a chance, but I'm also of the opinion that he needs to be eased in, because
Mm.
if we throw him in because of desperation that Odegaard is injured, then he puts so much pressure on his development, which I don't doubt that he's on point because he looks so matured, he looks
Very.
ready and all. So I'm not even doubting any of it, but I just don't want the pressure of having to deliver instantly on
Instantly.
that young boy. So gradually, I would give him more minutes, because there's no how. He has to play. Now that
He
Odegaard is now, he has to play.
has
There's no
to.
hiding space. He has to play. And really, really, this can also be an opportunity for us to see an homegrown midfielder that that oozes that Arsenal identity, that Arsenal DNA.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
opportunities like this we have seen so many opportunities. We can talk about Jack Wilshere. We can talk about
Really
Cesc
at the age of 18.
Fabregas. We can talk about ballers that have come from our academy and they are the real epitome of like
They
Arsenal
lived up to the
football. So
expectation. Yeah.
so I feel he deserves to play, but it's also Arteta's responsibility to manage it properly.
Like we mentioned now, that's one thing we're going to be looking out for in the game. I'm expecting a good result, regardless of the fact that we're
Mm-hmm.
away from home. Our record
Mm-hmm.
away from home recently has been
Mm-hmm.
solid. So defensively, I believe we should be able to do a good job. It's just how we finish off the opportunities we have in the final third.
Facts. Facts.
That's just what we're going to be thinking on and watching for. What would be your prediction for that game?
Hmm.
Scoreline prediction.
My score before my scoreline prediction, I must say that I'm afraid of Ademola Lookman.
Hey, our
No
home
more
our
our
own
boy,
boy,
our boy. I'm afraid.
Ballon d'Or nominee.
African. That's the African player of the year. I don't know any other African player that has had a better form.
He's on an epic form
He's
right
on
now.
he's on something. So I think Ben White will have his. Yeah, Ben White now. He's
On
yeah.
yes,
Yes.
that'll be another tough day at the office for Ben White.
Yeah,
Another
yeah.
big test.
He's going to have his work cut out for him. But I think we'll come up with another not we're not going to come up with a conservative,
Shape
approach.
like we did
We'll
against
Yeah,
Tottenham.
we'll still come out to play, but I think the scoreline will still be conservative as well. So I'll go with like a 2-0, 2-1 scoreline.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
It's
that's
just going to be
that's fair.
tight. It's going to be
Uh,
tight.
yeah, it's going to be tight. I'm actually looking at a 2-1 prediction scoreline
Mm-hmm.
because I feel, no, I'm suspecting that there will be this comeback. So I'm looking at the fact that Atalanta will probably score first.
For real.
Yes.
Ah.
So we'll come back to this. Yes, we'll come back to this. Atalanta will probably score first, and Arsenal will come back with 2 goals and win the game.
Mm.
But another beautiful thing to look out for now is the fact that we're still going to be having home game, away game. So starting with the away, I feel more comfortable, so we can gauge them properly, just like we did Reims in the last season. More, it was a
They
cold
beat
front
us.
there.
They beat us for France. Can't collect like basket of
Yeah, so
gold.
we scored first and we now eased off, but
Yeah,
the pressure on in the stadium and all of the thing there was just crazy. But
true, very true.
altogether, I feel that away performance thing is going to be a 50-50. The way we start the game is going to be a major tell to how we
Mm-hmm.
can actually carry on in the game. But
Mm-hmm.
if we
Mm-hmm.
go down, right now, with the way Arsenal is, I'm not discouraged. I feel we can always come back,
Okay.
and I
Okay.
think it will help our concentration also in the game. So I'm suspecting that might happen. But 2 goals in, if I'm going to predict who's going to score, I'll say Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus.
Mr. Champions League.
See,
How is
that's
is
see
our
that's
is our own Mr. Champions League now? Because if anybody in the comments is dragging me for calling Jesus Mr. Champions League when Ronaldo, is the
no,
real Mr. Champions League, but
yes,
that's our
that's
highest goal
our
scoring.
Mr. Champions League
That's our
because
old Mr. Champions League.
he's a different baller. I can't forget the
Mhm.
game against Sevilla, what he did in the middle of the park there, and how he laid it up for Martinelli. That was something else. That was a flair that we knew him to be capable of, and he
Yeah,
delivered on
yeah.
it at that point in time.
Make
So,
let him just do the easy thing. Let him not overdo it.
bro, I think it's a Brazilian thing because if you watch Vinicius too, he does that sometimes.
Martinelli too does it.
Martinelli too, like just do the simple things and just you
Make
have
it dribble one, dribble two, pass. But
pass
no, he
it.
wants to dribble 5 times, just dribble 10 times.
Ah, but it's all good. It's all good. It was nice catching up with you, my
Nice
guy.
one, man.
Everyone that has been watching our stuff so far, I want to say big thank you to
Thanks for
everyone.
the love.
Yeah, thanks for the love, thanks for the comments, thanks for the likes. Please like, subscribe. Have a good rest of your day. Peace out.
Peace out, bro.